Welcome back to the kitchen, guys. You got your local ham sandwich here with my first Genesys deck profile here on the channel. This is going to be my PUNK Centur-Ion Genesys deck profile. This list has gotten me 3 whole first place locals tops, or some variation of this list. So it feels really strong in the format right now, and obviously I love Centur-Ion and know it very well, so I feel like I'm very skillful with this list. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys. Just as another kind of version of Punk that you can play in Genesys, since Punk is generally pretty good in the format. I'm going to hop into the deck profile right away here and just not delay anymore for you. Starting here with the Centur-Ion package, of course. With how the package is pointed, we have to play a slightly smaller package, although the Punks kind of do some of the heavy lifting. So we've got 2 Primera for 5 points total and 2 Tridea for 6 points total. 1 Gargoyle, 2 Stand Up for another 10 points total, and then 3 Emblema Oath for 0 points. Kind of surprised this card is not pointed at all, but I mean, it's basically does everything you want in the deck. And then obviously also 1 Bonds and 1 Phalanx. You could potentially cut the Bonds, but it helps with some combo lines where you don't end on a Centur-Ion Synchro monster, which we'll get into with the combo at the end of the video. But yeah, this is 26 points for your main deck Centur-Ion package, all fairly consistent. Very easy side outs, these 2 cards if you're going second. Gargoyle I tend to keep in for combos going first or second. So that brick I don't like super mind. In terms of the Punks, we've got 3 Foxy Tune for 15 points. The only Punk card that got points on the list directly, obviously E-Telly is points, but we don't play that in this list. And then we've got 3 Rising Scale, 3 Ogre Dance for our level 8s. For our level 5s, we've got 2 Deer Note, because you want to always try to keep 1 in deck, so you don't super mind drawing the 1. And then for our level 3s, we've got 3 Xiamen and a Sharakusai for the combo. Sharakusai also another easy side out going second, but it helps with some lines going first. Plays a little bit more into Nibiru, but obviously in Genesys, some of those hand traps you don't have to worry about them quite as much, because they're just a little less common given their point values, but always something to keep in mind in terms of going forward. And then for our non-engine, obviously Centur-Ion and Punk can both historically play quite a bit of non-engine, so for 15 points we have 3 Joel and Lockbird. Konami, please give this card more points. Like, 5 is way too little for this card. We got 3 Effect Veiler for 21 points. And then 1 Ghost Ogre for an additional 3 points. It's searchable via Jam Dragon Drive. So you don't really need to play more than 1. It saves you some point value as well. And then for the non-pointed, non-engine, we got 3 Cosmic Cyclone in the main and 3 Dark Will No More in the main. Generally in Genesys, I feel like main deck spell trap removal and main deck breakers are pretty good. You could main deck like Twin Twisters, MST, or something like Ultimate Slayer, or Book of Lunar Eclipse, what have you. These are my 2 of choice, but you can kind of change it however you want. Cosmic Cyclone helps in this deck because it lowers your HP, lowers your life points for second game Punisher. So that's my personal choice in terms of a spell trap removal card. And then in terms of our extra deck, obviously we have our tokens as always, including that Zeus token for the Neuron Engage event that I won with this list. One of those 3 first place toppings. And then for the actual monsters here, for our 12s, we've got 2 Legatia, a Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, and a Despian Lulu Walilith. No Auxilla. I have cut Auxilla out of this list. 33 points is just way too much. And I figure I'd rather want to play some of the more powerful pointed non-engine and play Psychic and Punisher and over Auxilla, so I've cut Auxilla from the list. I'll put up on screen a list that I got with Auxilla in the deck. It was my first place finish, but since then I've decided to cut Auxilla just because it's way too many points. I hope they bring it down eventually, but since they didn't hit Centur-Ion, or unhit Centur-Ion on the last adjustment, I'm kind of a little hesitant to believe they will do that. And then for our 11s, we got 2 Amazing Dragon and 1 Pep. Amazing Dragon, both a good combo piece and a good interruption on the opponent's turn if you end on Sharakusai. So I like playing 2, because you often have 1 underneath your Jam Fever, and then the second one summoning by Sharakusai. So 2, in my opinion, is fine. I don't have Jiraishin in here. In my testing, it feels like a little less impactful than you'd want in this deck. So I feel like I could just end on Sharakusai and get the quick spins off of the Amazing Dragon. And then for the level 8 synchros, of course, we've got Primera Primus for the bridge, the Dragon Drive, and the Pack Bit. Pack Bit mostly for Ultimate Slayer, but in Centur-Ion, of course, has double use as it's a non-archetypal support card, basically. For fusions, we got the Rising Carp, of course, and the Skull Knight for, again, our Ultimate Slayer. And then for Xyz monsters, we've got Jam Fever. You summon this basically every game. We got Ruinix Eternity for another utility, rank 8. I like the board wipe plus basically MST. And then the Aggregator for Ultimate Slayer, which you'll see soon in the side deck. Nothing I'd really change in the extra deck. I may consider a second Jam Fever, if anything, because the second one does come up occasionally. But overall, I feel like the side deck's pretty good. And then for the extra deck's pretty good. And then for the side deck, we have 3 Gamseel, really, really good card. 3 Skullmeister for another free hand trap. Pretty good against a lot of popular decks right now. Most decks do have something that activates Engrave, so it's pretty impactful. MST for extra spell trap removal for the trap decks like Odeon. Obviously Ultimate Slayer for the combo decks that end on a extra deck monster. And then for a go in first option, we got Breakthrough Skill, which I will usually side out the Dark Ruler no more for if I'm going first. That could be Gravity Collapse or whatever go in first trap you want. Again, nothing really in the side deck that I've changed. I've played this deck for about 5 weeks and I kind of experimented. This is kind of the kind of end game build, I guess I'll call it. So next, let's jump into a basic combo for you. Alright, and so for your basic combo, guys, I'm going to show you basically the best combo this deck can do in terms of just the best established board, which is a 2-card combo if you draw both engines separately, although there is a bridge if you see the Punk engine and no Centur-Ions, which we'll kind of get into. I'll show you where that line diverges. So for this example, I've got Emblema Oath and Ogre Dance in hand. You could see this with Foxy Tune, Stand Up. Drawing Deer Note with Xiamen is also good, which happens more often than you think because we play 2 Deer Note. So there's a few combinations of cards you can kind of see here. If you draw Foxy Tune or the Deer Note Xiamen combo with a Centur-Ion normal summon, that also works to get you the full combo, basically. So I'm going to start. I will usually start with the Punk combo, although Ogre Dance specifically will play heavily into Droll, so you may find yourself wanting to do Emblema Oath first if you're afraid of Droll. But in this case, we will assume our opponent has no hand traps for the example. So I will go Ogre Dance, and we'll grab Xiamen. And then we'll normal Xiamen. We'll Xiamen pay 6, and we'll get Rising Scale. We'll have Rising Scale banish that Ogre Dance special, and we'll go Rising Scale effect. So here you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either just straight up summon Deer Note, or you can summon Sharakusai and go for the Rising Carp. I tend to want to go for the Sharakusai to have it in rotation just for the end board, because we will be special summoning it back, so we're going to go Sharakusai to fuse. It doesn't super matter which one you fuse with, because you're going to basically get these 2 back on board no matter what. But if I have Punk plus the Centur-Ion combo, I'll usually lean Rising Scale in case this gets interrupted, so I have an 8 to make a synchro with. So I'll go fuse into the Rising Carp, and we'll go Rising Carp effect. Basically just replace the 2 monsters, but we are going to get our Deer Note this time. So we'll get another Xiamen. If you feel so inclined, you can play Wagon, or you can play Madam Spider with the Gabu or the Extreme Session. Extreme Session, I feel like since we already have Stand Up Centur-Ion, we don't really want another field spell, and also all of those cards kind of feel like one card bricks, and the Centurions are kind of already one card bricky, so I don't want to add more bricks to the deck. So in this case, I'm just going to summon another Xiamen. And so, considering that we have the Centurion package already, I'm going to synchro, and I'm going to make our Dragon Drive. So we'll go Dragon Drive 1 to search, we'll go Deer Note 2 targeting Sharakusai, and then Xiamen 3 targeting Rising Scale, just a chain block. So we will go grab our searchable Ghost Ogre, and we will revive that Sharakusai. Not going to stay on the board for long. And then Rising Scale is permanently at 3,000. So then we will kind of synchro these two again. And there, again, you could end on... you could just end on that and make the Jam Fever on top of the Dragon Drive. That is an option. If you don't want to play into Crow or Skullmeister. What you can optionally do, if you're going second, you can just make... I tend to make Amazing Dragon here anyway. You can just make Amazing Dragon as an option, and then if you're going second, Amazing Dragon gets the spins. You can go for some damage. You have got 6,000 on the board right now. Or if you're going first, you can just revive the Sharakusai. Say, for example, you fused with the Rising Scale and you want to bring back that body, you can do that as well. Going first, again, it doesn't super matter. You can just kind of leave these three on board and make this with the Jam Fever. But just for the sake of kind of options for you. And then we will ask our opponent if they have anything here. If they have no Nibiru, we're slapping a Jam Fever on top. Yeah, that line into Amazing Dragon plays more into DD Crow and plays a little bit more into Nibiru, but is what it is. Is kind of in favor of showing you the options. And that's basically the main Punk combo. You got our Monster Negate. We got a Book of Moon for a monster with 2,500 or more attack. And then we've got Sharakusai Quick Sync into another Amazing Dragon for 3 spins, in theory. Plus our Ghost Ogre in hand. 2 to 3 spins if we use the Ghost Ogre first. We'll get the 3. And then we'll go Emblem Oath. Just to add to our board here. We'll Primera Search. We're going to grab Stand Up. We're going to activate Stand Up. We'll go Stand Up effect, pitch whatever is in our hand. Then we will get the Trudea, and then we'll go Trudea effect, Gargoyle, and then we'll go Gargoyle effect, and then we will synchro these two for Legatia. Oops. And then we'll go Legatia 1, Gargoyle 2, so we'll basically refresh our hand, and then we will draw a random card. And then that's basically it for the Centurion combo. Basically what it was on release, and then during the end phase, Legatia will place back the Primera. So what this inboard does, obviously you have 1, 2, 3, 4 interruptions from the Punks. Then you've got your 5th interruption from the Quick Sync of the Centurions, which can be basically any of your level 12s depending on the situation. And then what's really cool here is that Legatia is going to protect Sharakusai from battle. So your opponent can't just go straight to battle and get rid of your 1 interruption here. So that's pretty cool. So basically it's a 5 interruption board. The Rising Scale interruption doesn't come up all the time, but it's still an option against some decks, especially the Synchro decks. If they summon a big Synchro they want to use for material, you can book it. Makes it kind of difficult. Or against the Xyz decks that want to keep laying Xyz monsters on top of each other. You can do that too. So let's rewind here and let's think about if we didn't have Emblema Oath in the hand and just the Ogre Dance. Okay, so let's rewind to this point after we've done Rising Scale to summon Sharakusai. We're going to do Sharakusai again to make materials for a level 8 Synchro. I think, again, you'd probably want to still leave the Rising Scale on the board. Since you're bridging into Centurion, you want to keep a level 8 on your board. So we're going to make Rising Carp, and then we'll go Rising Carp effect. we can grab the Deer Note and the Xiamen. So in this case, again, we are going to go Synchro, but instead of making Jam Dragon Drive, we are going to pick, of course, Primera Primus. And now we can go Primus 1, Deer Note 2. In Deer Note, you could probably still grab the Charkusai again. You can do a very similar kind of play. So we'll grab Charkusai. And we'll kind of just leave it there for now, and then we'll go with Emblema Oath. So what you can do is we'll go Emblema Oath. This Primera, we'll go Primera to search. Goes engrave, stand up. And then we will go stand up, pitch, and we'll get back to kind of this point where we have Trudea and Gargoyle. And then here you can do this also a couple different ways. What you can do is you can either end on 2 level 12 synchros. You can go Primera, you have to use Primera to make Legatia here. You can go Primera Rising Scale, and then Gargoyle Primus into 2 level 12s, leaving the Charkusai on board. Or you can just go into 1 level 12 synchro, probably with these two. That'll be your Legatia. And you can kind of leave your options open. I would say you probably do want to go for the 2 12s. So we're going to go for our Legatia. We're going to draw. Refresh our hand a little bit. And then we'll go Gargoyle, make Gargoyle level 4. Synchro these guys. And I tend to want to make Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon in most cases. If I know my opponent's on a heavy kind of heavy extra deck, I'll end on Lulu. But Vengeance Dragon is probably your kind of most generic. And then we'll add Gargoyle back to hand as well. And then we'll go end phase, and we can place the Primera. So what this accounts for now is Vengeance Dragon itself is 1 to 2 interruptions if they go to the battle phase. It's 2. Charkusai can give you the option to, off of your Trudea, make Amazing Dragon for 2 spins. Optionally, you can also do these 2 into another Legatia for a pop, or a Lulu for a monster negate. Against most combo decks, the Charkusai into Amazing Dragon is probably going to be most impactful because you're spinning 2 cards. You've got Xiamen in grave, and you're about to put Charkusai in grave. Plus, you keep Primera in the back row to keep protecting Legatia. And the same thing applies here. Your opponent can't just go straight to battle and kind of kill Charkusai because Legatia is protecting it. So it's a little bit of a weaker board if you do it that way. If you want to bridge it, it's 1, 2, 3.5 interruptions. Whereas if you can also just choose, if you see only Punk combo, to do just the Punk combo, which is again Jam Fever, Charkusai, Rising Scale, and Ghost Ogre, which is 4. So it's roughly 3 or 4 interruptions both ways, plus whatever's in your hand, because again we ended on a 5-card hand. So yeah, that's the way you can kind of bridge those together. Yeah, that is the deck profile for you guys, and the main combos here for you guys. Definitely a lot of fun I'm having with this deck, a lot of success, obviously. If you like Punk as a deck in Genesis, I would encourage you to give this a try. It just gives you more options to keep extending. That's the biggest thing about this deck, is you can draw cards that are 4 to 5 engine pieces in the hand, and you can just extend through all kinds of interruptions. That's what I like the most about it. It's a little weak to Droll on some hands, but a lot of hands can kind of play through Droll because both engines are only searching once or twice at most, so it's not that big of a deal really. Now, if you have just Ogre Dance in your hand to search the Yaman and they draw you there, you have no extension. Yeah, that's just an edge case, but yeah, it can happen that way. But most of the time, you are able to just play straight through Droll pretty well and end on some kind of board. Plus, you have room for all kinds of hand traps and stuff. So yeah, it's basically doing what Centurion always did, just with the Punk package to make it a little bit more consistent and a little bit more pushy. So yeah, definitely like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Look for more future matches and deck profiles on the way. My friends and I are loving Genesys, so a lot more content to come. And I will talk to you in the next one.